Water in the Park, a book about water and the times of the day by Emily Jenkins. On very hot days, as the sun rises, an orange glow shines in the water of the pond. Just before 6 o'clock, turtles settle on rocks. They warm their turtle shells in the light. Good morning, park. Most people haven't opened their eyes yet. Dogs are up, though. Row, row, row. Time for a morning swim. Today, as soon as Bingo, the first dog, and his human, the first human, reach the pond, the turtles slip off their rocks. More dogs arrive, already panting in the heat. Little Nani has only 3 legs. She is learning to swim again after her accident. Her human scratches her ears. "Just try it, girl," he says. "You are the dog of all dogs." Mr. Fluffynut is scared to go deeper than his doggy ankles. He holds a tennis ball tight in his mouth and will not give it up. "Drop it," says his human, but Mr. Fluffynut will not drop it. By 7 o'clock, 2 babies have come to the park. One has a bagel in a brown paper bag. The other has a plastic box of apple pieces. The babies want drinks from the water fountain. They point their baby fingers and jump. Their grown-ups lift them up and up. At 8, the park attendant turns on the sprinklers. Whoosh! Both babies wet their hands in the spray. One laughs. The other cries. On very hot days, puddles ooze across the asphalt by 9 o'clock. 3 sparrows hop in and have their sparrow baths. The baby with the bagel gives them a snack. The metal slides are too hot to touch, but the playground is crowded by 10 o'clock. "Sweating even in the shade," complains Claudie Kay's sitter, fanning herself with a magazine. Children pour water down the slides. Others wait to fill balloons at the fountain. Shawnee B dumps pail after pail of water into the sandbox. At 11, volunteers arrive in matching green t-shirts. They stretch out hoses and water the flower beds. They pull weeds and snip dead blooms. Ribbons of water seep out of the rose beds and under benches. Ants crawl to safety. Pigeons strut at the edges of the new puddles, cooling their pigeon ankles. Coming up on noon, it's time for lunch. Maybe a nap. Some children cry. Claudie Kay clings to the leg of a bench. "Not going home," she says. She likes it here. Around 1 o'clock, grown-ups wander in, squinting, from their shops and office buildings. They sit near the pond and eat sandwiches and yogurt. 2 old people stand with a bag of breadcrumbs. Fish come to the surface. On very hot days, the ice cream truck comes early. By 2, its tune is already jingling. Children coming back to the park get soft-serve cones and bright popsicles. Grown-ups buy bottles of water. Sticky fingers and faces are rinsed in the sprinkler. By 3, the playground is crowded again. Shawnee B dumps pail after pail of water on her mommy's feet. Big kids fill squirt bottles at the fountain. Little guys carry water to the sandbox in pails. They are building a castle in the wet sand. It is going to have a moat. Around 4 o'clock, Benjamin F. skins his knee. His sitter washes it clean with water from the fountain. It is so cold and the scrape is bleeding. He sits on her lap until he feels better. At 5, grown-ups begin squeezing water out of t-shirts. They find their empty bottles and pick up bits of broken water balloon. Some of the children go home in wet clothes. Others change into dry. One naughty baby goes home naked. Claudie Kay clings to the chain on her swing. "Not going home," she says. She likes it here. The park attendant turns the sprinkler off at 6. One baby laughs when the water disappears. Another cries. Then they both go home, drinking water from sippy cups and clutching their mother's hands. It is 7 o'clock. A stripy cat creeps from beneath a bush and laps a quiet puddle. And now the dogs come. Row, row, row. Time for an evening swim. As soon as Bingo, the first dog, and his human, the first human, reach the pond, the turtles slide off their rocks. More dogs race to the water. A dad and his boy walk past on their way home from the diner. The boy rolls up his pant legs and wades in up to his human ankles. It's so warm. The rocks are slippery. Little Nani stays on the shore this evening. She's tired. But Mr. Fluffynut, he finds his own spot by the reeds and goes all the way in. His human throws a tennis ball. Fetch and drop, fetch and drop. At 8 o'clock, clouds roll in. The water shines dark, dark blue. The dogs prick their ears and sniff the air. The storm comes fast at the end of this very hot day. One heavy drop hits the pond, plop, and the sky opens. Water pours down upon the park. It is almost night, and everyone, everything, everywhere in this whole big park, the benches, the slides, the sandbox, the rocks, the turtles, the sparrows and pigeons, the boy and his dad, Bingo, Mr. Fluffynut, little Nani, the park attendant, and one baby up past her bedtime, animals and humans, everyone is now very, very, very wet. Good night, park. Remember, if you loved this story, check it out from your local library or go get your own copy